Hello and welcome to another wonderful edition of I Import, the program that brings Ghana's shipping and maritime industry closer to you. It is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link and the Meridian Port Services MPS. I Import is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times. Viewers, this week we decided to go back in time and revisit the subject of the Black Star Line. This is because a section of our industry believes in the revival of this shipping company, or a semblance of a sort. Our goal here is to analyze whether having a national shipping line is feasible or not. To help us delve into this particular subject, we interacted with the convener for the Transport Forum Ghana in the person of Jacob Ajeman, as well as the Vice President in charge of Maritime at CILT Ghana, Ephraim Asari. Take a listen.
Mr. Asari, I'll find out from you. You are coming from the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, CILT Ghana, and I just want to find out from you whether you think that it is prudent and viable for the nation to have a national shipping line, so to speak, to revive, as it were, the Black Star Line.
Now, any group of people, government, institution, that to attempt to discuss anything relating with shipping will be doing the right thing. I always feel a sickening nostalgia of the days where these 16,000 capacity vessels owned by Ghana berth at the port of Tema. You really see economic activity, the vibrancy of people moving towards a certain goal. And the question is, do we have what it takes?
Yeah.
Yes, we have. The free sea coast is there. What is the business of a vessel? Carrying cargo. Yeah. Do we have the cargo? Yes, we have. And so, do we have the human resources? Yes, we have. So what do we need again? I believe that the former Nautical College, which now metamorphosed to
Regional Maritime
University, was there to train and then build up the human capacity to man these vessels. That institution is still there right now, training all manner of peoples with skills. In fact, we have seasoned professionals who we are now using in other countries. What is more, we could leverage on the African Continental Free Trade Area, which Ghana is now using as a headquarters.
Yes.
So it means that business is going to flow in, investors are going to focus on Ghana, and partnership in areas of maritime development is open. So it is the willpower, the passion to pursue this agenda is what is lacking, and which we have control over, which we can manage to revive. So I see the resurrection of the Black Star Line to be real. What we have to do is to take a paradigm shift from those funny stories that we heard in the past. If vessels are costing $900,000, $44 million to $1.2 billion, if a huge capital investment of this nature can be undertaken, and people, personnel deployed on a vessel can decide to joke, then I think that could be a criminal act.
In all of this, is it not prudent that we have the buy-in of the government?
We have the
buy-in.
Absolutely. I mean, these things are capital intensive. So obviously you need the government. Two, it is a policy direction, or it is a policy making.
Right.
That is why I speak to politicians, speak to people running for power. For the Transport Forum, we want to hear, we want to see your policy document about the transport sector, about the shipping sector. I think we are tired of rhetorics. We want to see documents. If you want us to believe in your ideologies, in what you proclaim as a political party, and I'm speaking to politicians across board, give us clear direction as to how you intend to revive the Black Star Lines.
Right.
Bring in academia, bring in professionals, and then let them run it. Give them KPIs. Stay back as a politician, because it is these political hands that collapses our businesses. So if you don't run the Black Star Line as an enterprise, but we see it as a political cattle or cow that we're going to milk, it will fail, as it failed. So we need the politicians, yes, but we need them as policy makers, not as policy implementers. Now, in making the policy, you need to involve the right people to give you the direction. So what is your policy about the shipping sector? What is your policy about the transport sector? Zone down. How do you intend to revive the Black Star Line? We want to hear them so that we can also advise positively and make it work. God, it's a fact. We need a politician. You can't do without them.
Right.
But they need to know their limit so that the investment, like my senior colleague said, you can't go and buy a ship over $1 million. Then you come and waste it. No, it can't happen. That's our point.
All right. Let me come to Mr. Asari. We had visionary leaders of this country who came about with the Ghana Airways, for example, the Black Star Line we're talking about, and we managed somehow to run them aground. Now calls arrive for the resuscitation of some of these national assets, which really put Ghana on the map in times past. Now, going forward, if it is agreed that we bring back the national shipping line, the Black Star Line, what kind of business model do you think we should approach this with?
Good. So we can always learn from the success stories of other nations. If you take the Asian giants, Singapore, Malaysia, they have a targeted policy towards shipping. And they are excelling now, running shoulder to shoulder with the West in terms of their GDP and economic growth. Singapore, it is the port that is making that nation. So we're saying that people get scared when they look at the huge investment in the maritime sector. The government should encourage private entrepreneurs who want to venture into that area. Many African nations might be scared because of the capital involvement that is determined. So I think that, yes, the model should be that we should engage foreign participation. PPP will not be a bad idea. We can take a cue from what happened at MPS in Tema, Bolloré Group with GPHA having some shares, and now MPS is pushing. If you take the Takrady example, I think Appiatse managed some arrangement there, and now the Atlantic Terminal is about to take off fully. Multi-purpose terminal. We are seeing a Ghanaian entrepreneur venturing into this area, which before was a preserve of the foreigners. The government must encourage individuals and groups like this. If that happens, reviving Black Star Line will not be a problem. We engage. People are interested in that industry. Apart from the gains of the employment issues, it solved a lot of social issues also. The extractive industry, manganese, bauxite, and whatever that is lurking around the Western Enclave is there. The Jubilee field is there. The oil and gas potentials all have to be developed. And then we should also think of not only continental voyage. We are looking at the coast-to-coast West Africa, around the Cape Town area to the Strait of Gibraltar. We can run this Atlantic Ocean and make profit. Then maybe other vessels can use the Suez Canal and venture into the Far East while others go to the Panama area. So that a well-tailored plan is workable and is achievable. We only need the willpower and the passion that will drive this dream.
Right. Okay. Mr. Ajimai, I don't know, draw us a bit, backwards a bit, and I want to use MV Adobia, if you heard about it.
Come again.
I want to give an example about MV Adobia.
Okay.
This was a feeder vessel that was acquired by Stanley Aholu, who is also in the industry. He's a legal practitioner and he's an entrepreneur as well. And this was a feeder vessel that traversed the West African sub-region, picking cargo from one destination to the other and all that. But it was short-lived.
Yeah.
It didn't live long.
Yes.
I mean, he tried something on his own as a Ghanaian.
Yes.
Perhaps on a very small scale. And this didn't work. But we're looking at the broader picture, the bigger picture.
Yeah. Establishing
a national carrier in the shipping industry. How easy do you think this would be?
If I may add a little to what my senior said, probably disagree a little with him.
Right.
When it comes to the PPP agreement, yes. I think that's the way to go. My only challenge, or where I disagree with him, is where we may involve foreigners. I'm not against foreign investment,
right?
But I think for the purpose of a national pride, we should be able to trust the Ghanaian to be able to do something. So there should be a PPP agreement, being Ghanaian. That's my
only
point.
Ghanaian.
Yes,
only Ghanaian.
Government can own a portion, then other Ghanaian investors can own a portion. I don't subscribe to the idea of BOT, build, operate, and transfer, because in most of those agreements, it doesn't favor Ghanaians. So the Ghanaians that are supposed to acquire technical knowledge and skills will end up not getting it. And then the contract is over, then we need to extend it because they've not gotten the required contract, expertise.
Yes.
So that is my little challenge. But I think the PPP should be the way to go. And the terms should be transparent. It should be more favorable to the Ghanaian. That's my point about that. Now, coming back to the issue of somebody tried to do
exactly,
it.
Yes.
When we were off camera, I was speaking to my senior. And then he told me jokingly that I can see you have a lot of interest in Ethiopia. That's what he told me. And I said, yes, I have a lot of interest in Ethiopia because I think it's a model for shipping company, national or state shipping company. When they got to Ethiopia in 1964, that's when they started their operation. As you speak today, they have well over 400 vessels.
Wow.
Ethiopia. Wow. You go online, you see it. They have over 300 cargo vessels. They have about 84 or more oil vessels. How did Ethiopia do it? Transparency, commitment, government support.
So viewers, you could tell that our pundits are of the opinion that we should revive the Black Star Line or have a national shipping line, and government should do this with private sector. Now let us hear a few of your comments on the subjects that we have just discussed after we go on break, and we'll be back with more news. Good evening, Iron Port. I am Abochi Famous from Tema. I think our government should pay more attention to the Black Star Line. It will be giving us more revenue as a country. Hi, I'm Ebenezer from Takrade. I think reviving the Black Star Line is possible, but the problem is our politicians are not interested in investing. Shipping is capital intensive, yes, but this should not be a big deal, especially where there's the opportunity to own a vessel by chartering. Why can't some of the so-called aid we receive as a country be in the form of a vessel? Or better, let us do a Gold for Vessel program. This is Ohema in Tema.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Welcome back from the break. Now let us take our local news segment. The harbour master at the port of Tema, Captain Francis Kwesi Micah, has averred that the creation of the harbourcraft jetty at the MPS Terminal 3 is owed to the ambition of the Port Authority and its key partners to improve efficiency at the port. Speaking to Ion Port less than a month after the operationalization of the harbourcraft jetty at Terminal 3, the harbour master explained the processes that led to the creation of the jetty.
We had a joint stakeholder meeting at the premises of MPS, and the subject matter was to do with the idle time for vessels departure that makes reference to the last box being loaded or discharged until the last line gets cast off from the jetty. In other words, until the vessel is said to have departed. And the time reference here was a bit on the higher side, and that made the terminal not very competitive. So it was as a way of trying to put our act together to see how we could counter that particular challenge that was facing. When it comes to the provision of marine services, it is the sole responsibility of GPHA Marine Department for that matter. And as it were, we had to help with the ideas, formulation of ideas, and then practical steps to take to ameliorate the situation. So we decided then to work on the dual concept of departures or handling of vessels movement, both for the inbound traffic and then the outbound traffic. And that will have required the need to have more logistics.
He revealed that the authority plans on procuring 2 new tugboats and train additional pilots to augment the port's capacity in the handling of vessels.
So we decided after end of the discussion to see how best we could put up an argument to management to help the facilitation of the construction of the purchase or the procurement for that of 2 new tugs, because we had 5 tugs and the activities then did not put us in good standing to be able to do the dual concept that we're talking about. So fortunately, the requirement to have 2 talks was acceded to, and the processes went on end. At our end, we had anticipated that actually, and we had, for matters of the numbers for pilots, had decided to bring in 2 batches of pilot trainees, and they were being trained. So we were talking about the additional tax, additional pilots, and then the mooring men, but importantly, the facility to contain them.
Captain Micah explained that the decision to provide a Harbourcraft jetty and an accompanying office space all tie into the authority's vision to leave no gaps in the port supply chain. The Harbour Master averred that these initiatives align with the authority's objective of making the Port of Tema the leading container hub and beacon of trade in the sub-region. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority remains committed to the holistic development of interns and young personnel attached to work at the authority for any given period of time, and tailors its supervision and tutelage to fulfill that objective. This year, the authority has facilitated a career and self-development forum for the young national service women of the 2022-2023 batch to prepare them for life after national service. Under the theme Contemporary Woman Managing Societal Pressures, the young women were counseled and educated on life skills necessary to come out successful amid today's dynamics in the life and career of women. The event forms part of the authority's itinerary for the celebration of the International Women's Month. Key speakers at the event emphasized on the need for mentorship for young aspiring women.
As a young woman, when you are rising, I believe that you need mentorship. Mentorship is very key. You need to be mentored, you need to be ready to learn and be coached. But one thing you should always have in mind is that as a woman going far, as a woman who wants to go far with a huge vision, you need to do the extra thing. You need to work extra.
I always say that if our generation had gotten that much mentorship from the older generation, I'm sure most of us will be better than we are today. So I am excited to bring under my umbrella a lot of these young ladies. Some of them do not need anything. All they need is just direction. Just direct them. If it's blue, it's blue. If it's red, it's red.
The president of the Port Ladies Association and the corporate procurement manager, Philippa Amanda Ama, shared an advice to the youth.
In charting a career path or in the growing up process, there are things you will experience you've never experienced before, and those mistakes may occur, but it's important to forgive yourself, learn from the experience so that you can be better tomorrow.
Ghana's leading oil marketing company, Goyle PLC, has responded to calls by governments to public-spirited organizations and individuals to lend support to the Appiatse Support Fund. The company last week presented a check valued at 200,000 Ghana Cedis to the fund. The amount is the company's token contribution to help alleviate the plight of the victims and the community in general. Kwame Osei-Prempeh is the group CEO and managing director of Goyle PLC.
So it's in support of the work being done to alleviate the suffering of the people of Appiatse, and to show people that everybody that Goil, we are always there to support every sector of Ghanaian economy wherever our support is needed.
Chairperson of the Appiatse Support Fund Committee, Dr. Joyce Ayi, who received the check on behalf of the committee, said 62 million Ghana Cedis has been raised so far. According to Dr. Joyce Ayi, the high cost of goods on the market, coupled with inflation, has increased the cost of rebuilding the community by the contractors. She said the support comes in handy and it will allow for the timely payment of the contractors to allow for the speedy completion of the reconstruction of the community.
Things are going well, and we're praying that by September, October, quite a number of the buildings will be available for use, yes. But we're very grateful to God, especially since their paying now is not a reflection of them not wanting to do so last year. They did write the check, but by sheer force of circumstances, the check got somewhere else. But it's good that it's coming now also, you know, which gives us a reason to ask other institutions that haven't done so already to do so, and even those who've done so but who can still do more to do so.
It's now time to go to the global stage and pick a few international shipping and maritime related news. The European Parliament and Council have reached a deal on the increase of maritime transport's contribution to reaching the EU-wide target of achieving climate neutrality in 2050. On March 23, co-legislators agreed on Fuel EU Maritime, a new EU regulation ensuring that the greenhouse gas intensity of fuels used by the shipping sector will gradually decrease over time by 2% in 2025 to as much as 80% by 2050. The deal sets up a fuel standard for ships to steer the EU maritime sector towards the uptake of renewable and low-carbon fuels and decarbonization. Under the agreement, big ships will be required to gradually reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Assembly has begun on the first large cruise ship that is being built to be ready for methanol-fueled operations. With the placement of the keel block for Main Shift 7 into the dry dock at Meriateku in Finland, the cruise industry is among the shipping pioneers pursuing the emerging alternate fuel. The cruise ship is scheduled to be commissioned in 2024, with other firms including Norwegian Cruise Line, Disney Cruise, and Costa Cruises also moving forward with plans for future ships employing the new fuel. It's now time for our Word of the Day segment, where we introduce phrases, jargons, and terminologies that we often use in this industry so you can get familiar with them. Today, we will tell you what DWT stands for. Deadweight tonnage is a measure of how much mass a vessel can carry. It does not include the weight of the vessel itself. Deadweight tonnage is the sum of the weights of cargo, fuel, fresh water, ballast water, provisions, passengers, and crew. It's now time for the schedule of vessels that have berth in the ports of Tema and Takoradi and at the anchorages of both ports, as well as those expected in the coming weeks, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate, which you may need to know to clear your cargo with. This is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Iron Port. We hope you've been informed and educated. Remember, all Iron Port content can be found on our YouTube channel, Iron Port. Subscribe, like, and give us feedback. Thank you for watching.